Football is a way of life. And nowhere is that more evident than in the cities where the game is played. Some places don't just host football, they breathe it. The streets, the people, the culture all come together to create an atmosphere that goes far beyond the 90 minutes on the pitch. And in this episode, we dive into the world's greatest football cities. What makes them so special? How do their history, traditions, and local culture shape the match they experience? And most importantly, what cities should every football fan visit at least once in their lifetime? Welcome to a new episode of Football Ultras.
Football Ultras.
How do cities shape their football club?
You know what? I think clubs always kind of represent their city, right? The culture, the history of the city, the people that live in the city, the also kind of the political attitude in the city. We've talked about that in another episode. I think clubs really represent the vibe of the city and the people. An example I'd have is Bilbao, which is in the Basque region of Spain, in the north of Spain, which has been, well, at least some people in there, many people in there have been trying to become independent for a long time from Spain. And it's really a place where people value their region and value their traditions, as seen by the football club Athletic Club in Bilbao, who are really famous for only signing players that have either been born in the Basque region, grew up there, or have heritage there. And that's really an example where a club really represents the values of the city, of the region. So it's everywhere, and I really respect that. Do you have an example though?
Yeah, but about Bilbao, like, do you know also the name of the region in Spain?
Vizcaya.
No,
Vizcaya.
it's Euskal Herria.
Okay, that's maybe in the Basque language.
I have been to Bilbao.
You've been
3 times in my life now, and 1 time for Athletic Club, and 2 times I went to Real Sociedad. And
Which one was better?
uh,
We're asking the important questions here, bro. Because
yeah,
I want to
because
go and I
we
want
are
to decide
honest
where.
here. It's difficult, man, because I watched the game in Athletic Club where they drew 0-0, and I watched Real Sociedad shitface Athletic Club in the derby. So then, of course, I would say Real Sociedad,
Mhm.
but I know Athletic Club is an amazing experience where even I want to go back. So
Even you, that means
both,
something.
yeah, but both of them are insane. Like in Bilbao, what I love, and I've said it a lot of times, is the stadium is in the city center.
Right.
So before the match, when you go, make sure to merge in with the locals and go for pinkstels and which is like the tapas and the small beers. Like go there, try it, and you will have an amazing time in Bilbao.
You ranked it first in your stadiums
in my
overall,
stadiums,
by the way.
in
So
San
that-
Mamés.
Bro, I
yeah.
need to go there.
So like it should be high on your bucket list.
Yeah.
Then in Real Sociedad, you named indeed like the culture thing in Bilbao. Real Sociedad stopped doing that.
No, they used to do that as well, right?
They
Right, I know
did it.
that.
They did it, and then
Right.
I think 15 to 20 years.
Right.
I did it for my research in my video, and I forgot it now. So
They stopped.
don't blame me. But they stopped because they couldn't compete with Real Madrid and Barcelona. So they still have players from that region, but
Not
they
as
stopped
many.
doing it.
Do you think that's a good thing? Which ideology, basically, which strategy do you prefer? The traditional one, Athletic Club, or the open-minded global one now of Real Sociedad? Because honestly,
I think
Athletic Club are not doing much worse. They're not doing worse at all. In the Europa League now, they finished top 8. Real Sociedad have to go through playoffs, so and I think they're also high on the table. Like, it's not really proven to be more successful for Real Sociedad, has it?
I think I prefer. It's not like I prefer, but I understand more the open-minded view from Real Sociedad because
Okay.
it is a bit stubborn as well, like Athletic Club. But what they do is so respectable, like because they compete indeed with the clubs, and every time Real Madrid or Barcelona comes to San Mamés, they lose or they draw.
Right.
Like it's almost never a easy win. But then again, yeah, they had some success over the last years, but
They
some
won
years
Copa
before,
del Rey.
yeah, but some years before that, they finished a lot of times 8th, 9th, 10th. So
Right.
for them, it's a lot going up and down, up and down. Whereas at Real Sociedad, I would say it's more like a steep line. So
Fair.
I
They were in
understand way
UCL.
more they're saying, but what Athletic Club is doing is maybe the most insane story in football.
For me, it's the most admirable club in the world.
Yeah.
Like, except for like my club. Like, if I was Spanish, obviously it depends where you were born, but if I had to pick a Spanish club, easily.
Yeah, but it's
Basque club.
difficult to say because if you're born in the south or
Right,
east,
of course it depends.
you will never
but
go
if
for
now,
Bilbao.
now they're definitely the Spanish club. Spanish. I say Spanish, okay. Spanish club I like the most.
Yeah.
Or La Liga club. So
And they don't like it when people say they're from Spain.
I
so-
know that's why I said okay, but just for the factually, let's say La Liga club.
Yeah.
Bro, which city do you have in mind that really shapes their football club then?
Yeah, if I have to name one, we have been to one city together, and that will come later in this episode. But where I've been solely is Marseille. Like, that city is one big religion, and the religion is Olympique de Marseille. So, for me, being there now, I've been there 3 times only to visit Olympique de Marseille, and you can feel everywhere in the city. The atmosphere that in the stadium is present represents the vibrant atmosphere in the city.
Mhm.
And it's nowhere, it comes nowhere as close as in Marseille. Like how raw and authentic the atmosphere is from the people that you speak to and that you see in the city. It's the same in the
At Velodrome,
stadium.
yeah.
And I also think how the players play, like they play most of the time really aggressive football, a lot of duels, a lot of tackles.
Physical.
So if you ask me like which city like represents a club more than Olympique de Marseille, like going to Marseille on every cornerstone you feel something of the club, and wherever you are in the city you look out to the Notre Dame, and that's like the church on the hill, and people on match day come there to light a candle to wish the team good luck.
Pray for the team.
And also from there you see Stadium Velodrome, and the city is Olympique de Marseille.
I think it's also in Marseille the mindset to be against the establishment, against the big capital of Paris, which is
Exactly.
in France. Like everything is only geared towards Paris in France. Infrastructure, all the money goes there. And I think the people in Marseille, they're really like, they're the second biggest city in France. They're really fed up with Paris. They hate Paris.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. I respect that as well.
Yeah, I think like Le Classique is like the match Marseille versus PSG. Like the rivalry has been a bit of a marketing stunt in 1990, 2000. So a lot of people will say to you like the rivalry is a bit made up.
Like in
but
Germany.
Trust me, like when you go to Le Classique at Velodrome or at Paris Saint-Germain Stadium,
Parc des Princes.
Parc des Princes, you have an amazing time. It's nothing like their Klassieker where Bayern versus Dortmund is just a regular league game. Like because they are rivals. Like they hate what you explained it perfectly, bro. So you are the nerd, and
Merci beaucoup.
once again you proved it. There are a lot of sentiments that fuel up the hate. So it's a really good rivalry to visit. Trust me.
Yeah, and that was a city rivalry before. Now it's represented in football. So really, really good example, bro.
What kind of key factors play a role for you when you enter a city for your matchday experience to be great?
I think one thing you mentioned before with Bilbao is definitely the fact the stadium is in the city center. I so much prefer that. And I've said that a lot of times in Germany. Sadly, we rarely have that. I love it the English way outside the ground when there's like pubs all around the stadium because you can soak in the atmosphere. In England, I think the atmosphere in the pubs is better than in the stadium itself.
Yeah.
Like after the game, like in the stadium, it'll be dead silent. After the game, you go party there with like English people arm in arm for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
So I think this is really important. And then also, obviously, we'll talk about that later in depth with an example. But I think when you have the feeling that the club is being represented and the club is being backed everywhere in the city, when people like the houses in the city center have the flags of the club on them, when you have that these murals. Liverpool is also an example for that, where outside Anfield you have, it's a residential area, you have so many murals of like, I think Trent, Klopp, Gerrard, every big player there has like a big painting. And then you see, even though you're not in the stadium yet, maybe you don't even see the stadium, but you see, okay, this is Liverpool area here. This is like, people support this club here.
Yeah.
I think this really shows the passion.
You know what for me is really important is like in each country, it is different. And then, for example, when you name Germany, the stadiums are a lot of times outside of the city center, but around the stadiums there are so many. What's the German word like stands where you get a beer, where you get the bratwurst.
Bütchen, Buden.
For example,
Right, that's true.
Deutsche Bank Park Stadium in Frankfurt, really shit location, but around the
forest,
stadium,
basically,
around the stadium there are so many like cars where you can get like your bratwurst and beer, and the atmosphere, even if it is -2 degrees, the German people are so crazy. They are there 3-4 hours before the game, packed with their scarves and everything on, and they enjoy life and football and talk about the game. So for me, that's also a key element. In England, what you say, the atmosphere is way better in the pubs than the game. I went to Chelsea against Liverpool, and I was looking in the pubs and I was having a pint, and the atmosphere was pretty insane. Like they jumped and they sang a lot
Before the game?
before the game,
Yeah.
and then in the stadium, dead silence.
Nothing. And then after the game, that'd be
Yeah.
good atmosphere again.
And what I love, since I've traveled to over 20 countries in Europe and seen all atmospheres, is in each country it is a bit different.
Right.
And that's what I love. But some key elements are there a lot of people before the game around the stadium? Are there places in the city where you can have a drink, or you can have some good food, where you can meet people? For example, that is non-existent in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, people in the cities where
Really?
you go to, Utrecht, people arrive 10 minutes before the game with
That's
their
like in
bike.
Spain.
No, bro.
That's like in Spain, bro.
But this is where we disagree the most.
Okay.
This is
well,
where
by the way,
we-
we'll name off top
Yeah.
5 cities later. So I'm really hyped what you have in there.
This is where we are going to disagree.
And we'll name a flop. So let's see.
If there is one fact in the Netherlands, the atmosphere before the game is shit.
That's crazy coming from a Dutchman.
Yeah, it's like I have been to so many countries, and the Netherlands don't go there for the pre-match atmosphere. It is,
Except for Ajax when they do their, what is it called?
but that's not a pre-match atmosphere. At Ajax, you have luckily the stadium that
ceremony.
is surrounded with a lot of cafes. So when you go to an Ajax game, you can go to a lot of cafes around the stadium that
Yeah.
are close. Eindhoven the same. The same is in the city center. So you have a lot of you have one street where everyone gathers. It's perfect. But the rest of the clubs in the Netherlands, it is people just come there 15 minutes, 30 minutes before the game, park their cars and go in. Like, we don't have that as in Germany. Like,
Mhm.
it is completely different. Which city has the most intense derby atmosphere you have ever been to?
Honestly, this might seem biased then, because I've been to a lot of derbies in Europe now, but this might seem biased, but I haven't seen a derby atmosphere in the city where you feel that, as you said, like something's in the air, something
Yeah.
explosive is in the air. I haven't felt that as crazy ever as in Hamburg, even though I'm a Hamburg fan,
Okay.
of course. And I've been to a couple of derbies at St. Pauli, at Hamburg, Hamburg against St. Pauli. I've been away at St. Pauli. I've been home at HSV. But you know, Hamburg is a special city because it's always like a bit rough, like a bit like at the sea, and and football is always a bit rough here, and the contrast is so crazy between traditionally Hamburg, the well, let's say club for the establishment a little bit traditionally, versus St. Pauli, like club for the working class, the punks, the hipsters, whatever, everybody that didn't identify with Hamburg, HSV, and then these two fan bases, even though now it's not as it used to be, like as violent, but these two fan bases then meet on the Reeperbahn, which is the iconic party street in Hamburg where people from all over the world come. Mostly St. Pauli territory, but there's also some HSV pubs. And if you go to the Reeperbahn before, even the night before or 2 nights before, the whole week of the derby, if you go there, you'll really feel the tension, bro. You'll be like, okay, like you might be like, okay, I'm not really safe here, but it's not that it's really dangerous. Sometimes there will be fights, but it's like people will look at you if you wear like, you can't wear like shirts the day before the game at the Reeperbahn, but if you kind of look like a Hamburg fan, people that don't like Hamburg will look at you, oh, who do you support? But you get weird looks the other way around as well. It is really, really heated, man.
Yeah, and this is now exactly what I mean, bro. Because this is an example where you really feel on match day and even the day prior to the derby that you almost don't really feel safe. Like, you have to be
Right.
careful where you walk, that you don't meet the wrong people. And I have to say, in all the countries I've been to, this wasn't really the case, except in Germany.
Okay.
So in Germany, the cities are really almost exploding. Whereas when I go to Copenhagen, amazing atmosphere in the stadium, but
Right.
on match day, there's nothing. There's nothing in the
I
city.
didn't notice I wouldn't have noticed there's a derby in Copenhagen. I loved the atmosphere, I agree. But I regularly took the metro to the stadium, was like normal people going to work, whatever. I didn't really feel there was a derby.
Same in Belgium, France.
Prague even, for me. In
Yeah,
the city,
Prague
I didn't feel there
even.
was derby. It was all tourists.
But that's also because the clubs are like with all due respect, they are a bit small compared to how big Prague is and how
Right.
many tourists there are.
And there are more clubs in Prague as
So
well.
I would say like Hamburg is like an exception because the city is so big, but you will feel in the entire city that there is a football match. The same I would say in Cologne when it's Köln-Gladbach, you will feel in the entire city when you're walking around
Right.
there is a football match. In other big capital cities in Europe, and I've been to almost all, you don't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Tiny places in the Netherlands are a good example. So when you go to Willem II, NAC Breda, in Tilburg and in Breda, you will get that feeling similar to Hamburg. One thing you didn't mention in Germany is the Niedersachsen derby, Hannover
Bro,
Braunschweig.
I was waiting for you to finish that. I was
That
going to
was-
mention that.
That was my first ever experience where I felt at 10 o'clock in the morning the city was about to
Right.
explode.
It
Like
was great.
what these fans did and then you have like the Hauptbahnhof, the central station in Hannover. And then you walk like 100 meters to the left and all the fans jumping, lighting fireworks at 10 and the game was at 3.
It was mental, bro.
So that's where I felt like, yeah, and I haven't felt that. And the stadium is not in the city center. So
It's about an hour walk from the central station, I would say. I think I walked there last time from the central
I
station.
would say in these cities, and I think also in Belgrade, I haven't been to, but probably in Belgrade you will feel as well. But in those cities, the police also make sure the fans aren't going in the city center because there are also a lot of tourists. So I think the smaller the city you go to, the more you will feel the tension on match day. And Hamburg and Cologne are an exception in that.
Right. But special mention to Hannover, which is just the one thing, which is like 600K. It's moderate size for Germany. But that is really insane because after the game, bro, you often be stuck at the central station if you want to go back. Like I was a neutral fan there, basically going there as a journalist. And then I was stuck between the Braunschweig fans, like 100 really hardcore fans, and the Hannover fans were like on that side of me, and they shouted at each other.
Guys,
Braunschweig lost. They were really mad. They were like insulting Hannover fans, and then they were starting to charge at each other. I was in between, like with a couple of regular travelers. I was like, "Fuck, what is happening now?" Like I will get smashed. But then the police stepped in like a couple seconds before they came to me, and we're like, "Yo," and then calmed down the situation. They were literally charging at each other, bro.
Talking about these cities and being multiple clubs in that city, can you name some examples where there are like two completely different identities in one city?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is one prime example in the whole world.
No, I think there are more.
There are more, but I think there's one that really stands out. Glasgow, bro, in Scotland. You've got Celtic.
Yeah.
You've got Rangers. These two clubs, no introduction needed. Like, they couldn't be more different, right? Yeah. You've got Celtic, who are like anti-establishment. They feel Irish. They hate the English. They are pro-Palestine. They are very left. You've got Rangers, who are pro-UK, pro-Israel, mostly right. They love the English. They hate the Irish. It's like everything, and Protestant versus Catholic, everything is different. Like they have no. Obviously, that's a really, really the cliche, but mostly it is still like that. Like we went to Old Firm, both not together, but we both went. And there, it's genuinely like that. Also, an example for a city where you really feel the derby atmosphere, because
Celtic, in Glasgow, bro. I went there 3 months ago, and it's a great experience. But on match day, it's a prime example of where you don't see anything in the city. There's nothing.
Before or after the game?
Before.
Okay.
And then after the game, the club who wins,
bro,
the club who wins can party. Yeah.
And that's like you're literally, bro. If you support the team that lost the Old Firm, you literally can't go in this city. It's a rule. Yeah. Okay. Like for me, this is a prime example where the club influences life in the city.
Yeah. Okay. But if you are talking about that you are present in a city that you feel is going to explode almost, like you feel tension is going to rise to max. Glasgow isn't the place to be. Like.
Okay, it's different than in Germany. But it's like, bro, we went out and then everybody, even the clubs asked us, fun. Are you Celtic, are you Rangers? We were tourists. We're like, of course, my friend is Celtic fan. So he said, we're Celtic. Because if we had said we're Rangers, couldn't go in.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun.
And then obviously, bro, I think this is a prime example for a city where football influences the life.
One more example I would have also like in Vienna, in Wien, where we went to. You have like Austria Wien, which are established from the coffee houses. They're a bit like the establishment in Vienna. They are more the chic, classy club. And then you have like Rapid Wien, who were named Wiener Arbeiter Fußballclub, which means like working class
club, yeah.
And you can see that back in how the clubs are shaped and how their kits are made of, the colors they wear.
Purple. You wouldn't see a working class club wear purple. It's like
Yeah,
a fancy color.
yeah. So I think like in Vienna, I really felt a difference between the two.
Did you feel it was like a dangerous atmosphere in the city?
The stadiums are so far outside of the city center that the police is always also capable of managing it, and that the
Fair.
fans do it more there. As I mentioned, Copenhagen, like the fans attack each other at regions where they are located, and not sincere like they meet in the city center and go riot there.
But Vienna, bro, I think it's actually an example where sometimes it goes too far because we have seen a lot of, or like more and more attacks in the city as well from ultras of the respective clubs, on sometimes also on casual fans. So I think in Vienna, it's a beautiful city. The derby is great, but I think sometimes they even go too far with like fighting in the city.
Yeah, but as a neutral fan, you are like completely safe. Like you can.
As a neutral fan, but not as a casual fan. Like recently, there was like, what was it? I think a 50-year-old dad or something was hit on the head. So that was.
Oh yeah, and a player of Rapid Wien was attacked in the city center.
Did that happen as well?
Yeah,
I didn't even catch that.
a player of Rapid Wien was attacked in the city center. That happened 2-3 months ago.
Look, I missed that. So even that.
You never knew that Guido Broekstaller, he played at Germany. He suffered a skull fracture.
All right, it was him who was attacked
He was attacked in the city center.
by Austria fans. Then was it, or can we not? Do we not know that?
I am not 100% sure. I do know that Austria Wien on Twitter immediately responded to it like, we don't condone
Right.
violence, etc.
And that's what I mean, bro. That's literally.
But that guy, he's a striker. He's 35 years old. He played everywhere in Germany.
he's a legend
He's a legend, and he got attacked in Vienna.
in Vienna, which is the most livable city in the world, by the way. But
Yeah.
in terms of football, they're a bit crazy there, man.
So apart from Marseille and Bilbao, is there a city where the football club is omnipresent?
I think prime example for this is Napoli, bro. in
Yeah.
Italy. Like, bro,
Naples.
Napoli, bro. I went there. I think 2 months after they won the Scudetto in 2023 in the summer. Like, even if I hadn't ever seen the Napoli logo, I would have got it burned into my head after that, bro. Every single house there, you know, it has Napoli flag, Maradona flag, or like a painting of Maradona on there, a banner of Maradona hanging outside the window, especially after that Scudetto win.
Yeah.
Got the Scudetto trophy as like a statue there. You've got the players' statues in the Quartiere Spagnolo, which is like the Spanish quarter with the stairs in Napoli, where there's also the big Maradona mural, bro. There, where you have like the small paths where at night you don't feel as safe.
Yeah,
It is crazy.
I've been twice to Napoli, and that's why I a bit hate like the media articles saying like Napoli is a dangerous city, because it's not, and especially
No,
during
it is.
daytime.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
if you
Sincero.
if you look
at
for
the
the
stats,
danger,
it is a dangerous city.
yeah, but if you look for the danger, but I've been twice and I haven't felt for 1 second dangerous, and I went in the small streets. Like if you just stay in the city center, and then when the football matches, you can take the trains and the metro, you can take them to the stadium. You have an amazing experience, and also after the game, like you are surrounded with 50,000 crazy Napolitano. It doesn't feel European. Like the experience at Napoli doesn't. It feels
You
like
think it feels a bit North African?
no,
Like
no, not at all.
I
But
think so though.
to me, it's like it's just a different country on itself. Napoli, like what the hell, man?
That's
It's
the south of
so
Italy, bro.
crazy, but it's so crazy there.
I know.
Like I would recommend everyone to go there, and of course, do your research beforehand, but you don't have to feel scared the whole day.
No,
like,
for sure you don't have to do that. Like I've
the
been
only
there.
the only thing with Italian football is like the way back to your hotel is a complete mess. Like especially at 9 o'clock games. Like my experience there, what I had to endure, we were trapped in a taxi with which allowed 4 people. We were there with 7 people,
That's normal in Napoli.
and the taxi driver just raced through these small streets. Like that was the most scary experience I've ever had. But of course, it's not like there are a lot of criminals that want to attack you. Like if you seek for danger, you will find it in Napoli. But if you stay within the pods and be normal and go for your experience in the city center, you will have an amazing time.
Sure. I mean, I'm not saying that every time you go to Napoli you're gonna get robbed, but obviously, like it is one of the more dangerous cities in Europe, definitely. It is one of the most dangerous in Italy. But also on the other hand, the people are so kind.
Yeah, and
Like,
so
they're
passionate.
so welcoming.
Are there small cities who are way too big in football?
A lot of cities where you mean the club is really successful, but the city is basically without the football club, no one would know it.
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, I was born in Mönchengladbach, which is a really shit city, to be fair, in Germany. It's
Yeah.
not a great city. But the football club is one of the biggest in Germany. Some people would say top 5. They dominated the 70s alongside Bayern. They won 5 Bundesliga trophies. They've been to a Champions League final, lost against Liverpool 77. They won the UEFA Cup 75 and 79 twice. They've been far in Europe, and the city is completely irrelevant in Germany. That's a really good example, I think. But I've got plenty, bro. I can name more. Nottingham Forest. Nottingham, 300,000 people. It's an alright city, like not a really big one, not a small one. The club has 2 Champions Leagues, which is not normal for such a small city. I think it's the smallest city where the club has 2 Champions League. Maybe Porto is in there as well.
Porto is big.
Porto, the city is really small as well. I think like 200,000 people. You've got Eindhoven, who've got a treble. For Dutch standards, maybe it's a big city. I think number 5 in the Netherlands. But they've won a treble with like 300,000 people. Yeah. Aberdeen, who've won the Cup Winners' Cup, who've won the European Super Cup with Alex Ferguson. You've got so many examples, but I think there's one prime example, bro. If I may continue this. I'm a nerd, you see this. Villarreal has 50,000 people. It's a suburb of Valencia.
Yeah.
And they won the Europa League. They've been, I think, UCL semi-final in 2006, if I'm not wrong.
No, but the fact they won the Europa League is insane.
Both are so crazy, bro. With 50,000 people, my small city, my small town, it's not a city, it's a town. My small town has 80,000 people. Their best club plays in the 6th tier of Germany. So the comparison, bro, it is really, really insane. Villarreal, what they do with their town size is crazy. Do you have an example? No, I've yapped so much.
No, not like that, but of course, like Kaiserslautern, when you go there, everywhere in that small town, because it's really small, I would say it's like a small village. But
100,000, yeah.
Yeah, but for German standards, it's small.
It is very small.
And then you have like everywhere where you walk in the city, you see like the stadium on a hill, the Betzenberg, like going there, like the city, there's not a lot. It's like a shopping mall and it's really small, but you go there for the football.
Right.
And a lot of fans are a bit from outside Kaiserslautern who live in small villages around it, and then they all go to the game. So
yeah. And then on the other hand, you also have big cities, relevant cities, that have shit football clubs, right?
Yeah.
I think you have an example there, right?
Yeah, so you have in Germany, like at the south of Köln, you have like Bonner SC, which is a city of 300,000 people.
West German capital, by the way, for 45 years.
It's a West German
capital.
capital.
So it was the capital.
And in Europe, it's one of the biggest cities. It's not the biggest, but one of the biggest cities that don't have a professional football club. The team that plays there is not professional, and it's an insanely big city.
It was always, back before Germany reunified, it was always the only capital city in Europe that doesn't have a pro football club.
Yeah, so for reference, Eindhoven with PSV has 200,000, and Bonn has over 300,000, and they don't have a professional club.
While Eindhoven, PSV has won a treble. So
yeah, and then you have Hoffenheim, which has a city of 5,000 people.
Yeah,
it's like a village of 5,000 people. They play in the Bundesliga, and then you have Bonner SC with 300,000 people, and they don't play professional football. Let that sink in. Talking about our experiences, like, what is your top 5 cities you have been to watch football?
Oh, let me cook, bro. I think my top 5 is really sick. Look, I haven't added many cities that I've been to myself, because I think was just trying to be objective, like which cities stand for football, which cities are you going to get the best football culture. My top 5, my 5th place is Istanbul, bro. I mean, bro, a city on 2 continents, a city with so many massive clubs. Gala on the European side, Besiktas on the European side, Fener on the Asian side. You've got Kashimpaşa, you've got Başakşehir, who nobody really supports, but still they're there. You've got Eyüpspor, who are doing amazing now in the Super League. 6 Super League clubs, and I think almost 20 professional clubs. Like so many clubs, so many crazy derbies, so many crazy fans. Istanbul, I think, is a must visit if you want to see football culture. Yeah,
it's on my bucket list, but I haven't been there, and I always do cities that I've been to. Okay, but I've been to a lot of cities.
So that's cool. So we're doing different rankings. We'll probably have a lot different cities. So let me know your 5 then.
My number 5 might be surprising, but it's Liverpool in England. Because
Okay.
when you go to Liverpool, the city center is so nice. You have like a lot of pubs which are a part of the matchday experience, where you have
Mhm.
your pints, where you meet a lot of fans, where you embrace the football culture. A lot of football is being displayed on the TVs in the pubs. Liverpool to me, and also the two grounds there, Goodison Park and Anfield. It's a must ground top experience to go there.
And they're so close together as well,
Yeah, but
which is
don't
amazing.
don't go for the atmosphere. Like, go for the culture and match day experience. Then my number 4 in Italy is actually Italy as a whole, but then like
What city though? You have to name a city here.
yeah, then I would say Napoli. Okay, so number 4 is Napoli, but if I'm allowed in Italy, you have also Genoa, which is really, really nice city. Rome, like Roma, must go to.
What about Milan?
I don't like
You hate
Milan.
San Siro, bro.
I don't like Milan. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I
City
think
as well?
the city is not nice. You don't have like a lot of nice terraces where you can enjoy your drinks. It's just not my city.
I
Bro.
see you like the ocean. You like cities that are close to the ocean. At
Yeah,
least.
but also we have a vibrant like city center where you like Verona,
Fair.
Florence. Like, bro, don't get me started about cities in Italy, but
Yeah.
Milan
Milan
just
was like-
isn't it.
Okay, fair.
What's your number 4?
Number 4, I've been. I think we've all been. London. I think we can't omit
We disagree.
London,
We
bro.
disagree
No,
so
but
much.
bro, if we talk like for me, this ranking is about cities again, where you have as a ground topper, if you go there, the best experience, the most like a lot of clubs to watch, most opportunities to breathe and soak in football. And London, bro, it's like England is the birthplace of football. So I
But
had to
it's
name
so-
one English city.
It's so posh there.
Look,
like,
I do not like London as a city. Don't get me wrong.
I hate it.
I hate London
Yeah.
as a city. But we're talking about cities that stand for football culture. And London has 17 professional football clubs in the top 5 divisions in England. How many Prem teams? They always go between like
Yeah, but
6 to 8 Prem teams. Bro, as a ground topper, I'm going there this year once again with friends. You can literally go there for 4 days. You watch 4, even 5, even 6 different games, bro.
Yeah, but
It's heaven for ground toppers. Let's be honest here. So I included it.
you can say that, but like in London, you don't feel the football atmosphere like in the city center of London. Whereas in Liverpool, you can feel everything in Liverpool.
Don't get me wrong, bro. Liverpool's my favorite English city. I so much
Why is it not
prefer-
there then?
Because for me, Liverpool is amazing. They've got Everton, they've got Liverpool, obviously LFC, they've got more clubs in the outskirts. But London, I'm talking again from a ground up perspective. You have so many opportunities, and you say you don't feel the football. London is not London. London is way too big to generalize it.
That's why I don't
If
like
you're
it.
in the city of London, of course, I'm not talking about the city of Westminster, city of London, where that's for the tourists, right? That's the posh area. I'm talking about the districts. You go North London, you go, what's it called? Islington, Arsenal, Tottenham, up there. You've got Chelsea and Kensington. You've got Fulham there. You've got Crystal Palace. You've got West Ham. You've got all these lower division clubs as well. You've got Brentford in the west as well. It's about the community in the specific district of the city. Not obviously, you're not gonna say, okay, I don't see a Brentford flag in the city of London, bro. You're gonna go to the stadium area. It's those communities around, and for that, I think London is really nice. But as a city overall, I don't like it. Don't get me wrong.
Your number 3.
My number 3 is Rio de Janeiro, bro. Because Brazilian football culture, bro, it's just peak, right? The second biggest city in Brazil. You've got 4 of the big 12 in Brazil. They have like the G12, the big 12 clubs, which are all hugely supported, massive fan bases. In Rio de Janeiro, you've got Flamengo, who, by the way, Neymar told me they have the best fans in the world. So that ever since, I've been like, eventually I have to check that out. You've got Botafogo, who are the current Copa Libertadores winners. You've got Fluminense and you've got Vasco da Gama. And all 4 are like massive. And for that, like even London, bro, I don't think they have 4 clubs of that size if you talk about relevance in the country. So that I have to mention. And then I want to know your number 3 now.
Yeah, my number 3 is also pretty easy. It's like Marseille in France.
Marseille,
Like that city reached for me
You've
the
talked
club.
about
Like
that.
it's one big religion. And then my number 2, I haven't spoken it about yet in this episode.
Oh, you can't go an episode without speaking about it.
Portugal, Lisboa. Like the city is amazing, and you have 3 pretty big clubs in Lisboa, and of course 2 big clubs where Sporting Clube de Portugal is the best. Also, as an away fan, like having a draw against either Benfica or Sporting is something you hope for.
It's always a nice experience, huh?
Yeah.
And the city's beautiful as well.
Yeah.
So my number 2, I can't leave it out here, Sao Paulo, the biggest city in South America. And if we talk about football culture in Rio de Janeiro, we also have to mention Sao Paulo. We've got Palmeiras, we've got Corinthians, we've got FC Sao Paulo, and then also in the suburbs of Sao Paulo, we've got Santos, which is obviously one of the most iconic clubs in the world. As much as Rio de Janeiro breathes football, I think Sao Paulo does. They've produced so many legends. I mean, obviously, recently Neymar, Santos now returned, Pele, basically the most of the golden generation of Brazil in the 50s, 60s, 70s came from Sao Paulo as well. And if you do Brazil as a ground topper, I mean, you have to do both. Don't think there's any comparison worldwide except for maybe one, which is also my number 1.
Is your number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you know which one I'm going
I
to
think
name.
we're heading to Argentina.
Correct.
What's your number one?
Correct, brother. Buenos Aires, bro.
Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires in Argentina. And this just takes it to the very top. If we're talking about how many big teams are in the city, there are 18 pro football teams just in the city itself. And then in the greater Buenos Aires, you have, I didn't even count. You have like dozens over dozens. You have more, like, I think 15 first division sides are in greater Buenos Aires right now in the Primera División in Argentina. 15, bro. Look, okay, they have 30 clubs in the division, but I don't think you find another country where there's 15 first division sides in one city. Like the dominance that
every
this city
game
has,
plays a derby.
every game is basically a derby.
Yeah.
But you've got like San Lorenzo, you've got in the greater area as well, you've got Independiente, you've got so many
Racing Club,
massive racing club as well.
Vélez Sarsfield.
So many clubs. And then, bro, I think ground topping tour in Buenos Aires with the lads.
Yeah.
Bro, that's football heaven. Now tell me your final choices in the ranking.
Yeah, I think like as far as it goes to a city, and I hope people will find me objective, it has to be in Germany.
Okay.
And yeah, it's got to be Cologne. Like, because Cologne is also a religion for the club. Like you go to the dome and how people light their candle, how they sing their club anthem at the start of every season. It's not the biggest city in Germany, which makes it also a bit intimate. Like in a city center, you see a lot of things that represent the club. You see a lot of times the goat with statues in a center, Hennes. So for me, like my favorite city to go to is Cologne.
That's fair, bro.
Talking about these top cities, has there been a city where you felt like, oh, I'm so excited to go to, but it was awful?
I will get hate for this as well, but I just have to mention Berlin in this aspect once again, bro. Once again. I know I'm always like, Fiago is the Berlin hater. Maybe I am, but maybe I'm just honest.
You are a nerd and a Berlin hater.
But hear me out, bro. Berlin is the biggest city in the European Union. It's like almost 4 million people there. And they've got 0 successful football clubs in their entire history. Look, hear me out. Sure, they've got Hertha. Hertha is a big club. Are they a very successful football club? No. Union is not a respectable club, not a very big club. BFC Dynamo was the only Berlin club that was ever like technically successful.
They're huge.
Why did they win 9 East German titles in a row? Because they were the club backed by the communist dictatorship government in East Germany. Like that doesn't count for me. They got all the money there. No, that's the reason why they were successful.
Yeah, but they are huge. They are huge.
Okay, but I'm not saying they have 0 big football clubs, but they have 0 Berlin, I'll say it again. Biggest city in the European Union, 0 successful football clubs.
Bro.
It's a fact, bro.
I don't
deny that.
Success is also having a big fan base.
Sure.
I disagree so big.
Sure, but we're just talking about a flop city that is a big city, but football-wise has always been underwhelming. Look, they have a big amateur scene. I'm not saying there's no football passion in Berlin. Big amateur scene. They have a lot of clubs, obviously, with this size. But they haven't ever produced a massive world-class football club, which is crazy for me.
Also, the history in Berlin with East and West Berlin.
It's unique.
The wall and how it united the clubs and then separated the clubs. For me, going to Berlin is really nostalgic.
I really like going to Berlin, and I love the history. Like I'm a history nerd as well. But we're talking about football here. Yeah. And if I go to Berlin, I see everything, but not football. But what do you have as a flop city then? If you disagree with Berlin so much?
Yeah, okay. So when I went to a city and I felt like, okay, I think it's gonna be an amazing vibe in the city center, etc., etc., etc. I'm gonna name 2 that are equal for me, and those are Dortmund and Gelsenkirchen.
as a flop.
Yeah.
But now you kidding me, bro.
They have to be the worst cities to go. Is Gelsenkirchen a nice city?
No, but I thought
Their
we're talking
breeds-
about football. Like Gelsenkirchen is an example for the other way around, where it's a small place, a shithole place, but they have a great football culture, amazing football club.
Yeah, okay, but the cities are the worst, and there's nothing to do on match day.
Sure, feeling the football club in the city, because
so in
in
Gelsenkirchen-
Gelsenkirchen, bro, you have a literal street which is called Schalke Meile, the Schalke Mile, where every house has something to do with Schalke, with a fan project, a Schalke pub. It is literally iconic, bro. There was one yellow house in that street, and they protested out there until the owner painted it blue.
Sure, but if you
Until the owner removed the yellow.
I've never heard a fan like, hey, let's go to Dortmund and first go to the city center to enjoy the vibrant atmosphere.
No, okay, I get that. But
So for me, those two cities flopped. Time for our next segment, debunking myths.
Debunking myths.
The best football cities are only in Europe.
disagree. I mean, my top 3 is literally outside of Europe, so heavily disagree there. South American football culture is great. African football culture is great. Even Asian. I went to Bangkok for a game. It was amazing. Maybe I'll talk about this in depth in a later episode.
I think I kind of agree with the myth because I think the way we are and our culture is, it's going to be way different than in South America and in Brazil. I'm not sure if I like it there more. I'm really content with Europe. Like I feel like it's the best place to watch football in. So for me, I agree.
I just don't agree with the only in Europe, but yeah, maybe.
Big city means big football clubs.
Berlin. One word. Berlin.
Villarreal.
Right. These 2 words immediately make this statement nonsense.
A great football city must have a successful club.
Wouldn't say that. You can also have like Napoli. They are traditionally not very successful compared to the passion they have. They have like 3 Scudetti, and they've won 1 UEFA Cup with Maradona. That's it. But they have the passion. They are an amazing football city. They feel, they breathe, they live the club. I think you don't really need the titles to have that passion.
Yeah, and this might be a hot statement, but I think clubs who are influenced a lot by the fans don't make the best decisions.
Woo! We're talking 50+1 now. We're attacking 50+1.
No, not necessarily, but also in Marseille, where the fans have a big influence on the board decisions because
pressure is so high from the ultra.
They pressure, and they also do some really illegal things to the board members, like they threat them, and there's a lot of violence. The same in Napoli. So I think sometimes the club makes decisions to keep the fans content.
Calm.
So, for example, they will never hire a player from a rival, whereas Barcelona, if Barcelona could buy Kylian Mbappé right now, they would do it.
Like how Inter bought Cialanoglu from Milan. Or
for example, like it might be a bit sensitive, but there's no way the club is not going to do it. And I feel like in cities as Marseille, as in Napoli, they wouldn't do it. That's just my knowledge behind the scenes, but it could be wrong. But
no, it's fair.
Then, as always, we finish the episode with some subscriber questions. Finn, fire me up with some subscriber question.
I have one actually from Sebastian, and he asks, if you could only watch football in one city for the rest of your life, which city would you choose?
Cologne.
Really?
Easy.
That's fair. I mean, I would choose Hamburg as well. It's just okay, but except for your club, then
Home
let's
club.
say that. I can't choose.
Okay,
Hamburg,
but then it's going to
Cologne.
be repetitive. But then it's going to be Lisboa, because in Lisboa you can always have a game at each weekend, Estádio da Luz or José Alvalade, and
Fair.
I just love the climate of Lisboa. I love the city, the people. Then I would go for Lisboa.
That's a really good pick, bro.
And you?
That's really
Buenos
good choice.
Aires.
I don't
Go
think
watch
I mean,
football
that
every
means I
day.
have to live there, right?
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't want to live there. I think I would want to stay in Europe. I think I might go for Italy. I love Italy. If I if I was choosing to be born somewhere for football, I think climate combined, I think Roma could be nice actually. Oh, but wait, then I have to watch an Olympic stadium every week.
Yeah.
No.
With a
okay.
running track.
No. Okay, I might actually choose Torino.
Torino?
Yeah. Love the city, beautiful. You've got 2 clubs as well.
Yeah, I think also with these places, they're also a bit small. So, and I love small cities. I don't like Madrid would be also be a great
Too
option
big,
because
huh?
you have 4 big clubs with different identities. but it's too big. Like, I love those, and Lisbon feels small. This was already episode 7. Thank you guys so much for the support you already have given us.
And see you guys next Wednesday, where we will talk not about cities, but about football countries.